Hello, my nerds and nerdettes. This is the second pre-write episode. Pre-writes the Batman Part 2, which I'm calling Face of the Batman. So the first act, we'd see Batman. And he's wearing a more colorful, as you can see, more slightly colorful, because he's trying to be hope and not vengeance, as what he said and he was doing in the last movie. So he's wearing like a yellow symbol and yellow and adding some blue in there. You see it, right? You see that, right? Anyway, him and Gordon have been doing really well protecting Gotham Lady from villains like Condiment King and Kite Man and some others. So much so that Gordon wants to add another person to the team who he thinks could be a really good help. Harvey Dent, the new defense attorney, who has been helping return criminals back to good. He even helped Condiment King become the good person that he is now. And yeah, he just seems like a genuine good guy. And Bruce immediately trusts him because James first introduced him when he was Bruce, and then that night he introduced him to the Batman persona. And they'd also meet a scientist at Wayne Enterprise called Victor Freeze and his wife Nora. I just didn't put her in here because she's not really that important to plot. Yeah. Meanwhile, there's murders happening that all four of them will have to help with. At least that's what they think. Because the murderer is Clayface. Ignore him. Clayface. They figure out that he's Basil Carlo, a fired actor who was fired because he was doing drugs. And he's now murdering the people who fired him. But you see, the mystery about this is that these guys don't know where the drugs came from. They just assume that some random mob boss came and gave him the drugs during his acting point. They don't know why. They just are assuming that this drug is giving him these clay-like abilities. And meanwhile, they're also dealing with another threat. A threat of another gang. A Two-Face gang. And they're even interrogating one of their members, Roman Sionis, who is manipulative himself, but he's not the leader of the Two-Face gang. He's just a common goon. And they basically get information from him about Basil Carlo, and they'd find out that the drug originated from the Two-Face gang. The Two-Face gang. Anyway, so in Act 2, they'd capture Roman Sionis and Basil Carlo. Because Roman, he's a goon and he tried to kill James. And so Batman took him down. And so now, but then he's broken out by this guy, Firefly. Meanwhile, for Clayface, he started out as that golden serial killer just with a couple clay abilities. But in the second act battle, he became this. He used to look like a human with slight clay, but slightly more clay-like. But now, and he was coordinated, and was making precise movements, but now, he's just a monster. There was no talking, and he was just swinging in Batman's directions, hoping he would kill him. And that's when they learn that his brain is gone. There's only clay. And at the trial, and they, put him out of his misery. At least Victor does. And Harvey. These two decide to put him out of his misery because he seems grumpy and misery and pain and no brain. And Batman understands it because Basil had no hope, which is what he's trying to be. And at the trial of Firefly, after breaking Roman Sionis out of jail, he brings a can of, like, that fire thing, and during the trial behind his back, he places it in a flamethrower. And right when and then it's revealed that Harvey Dent, is the attorney against Firefly, because he's a straight-up pyromaniac. And he burns half of his face, and he has to be taken to the hospital. So now it's just these three. And they're trying to track down Roman Sionis, and they find him. And they realize that Roman hired Firefly not only to break him out, but to burn someone's face. But it wasn't specifically Harvey Dent. He says it was his boss, the Two-Face. And Batman figures it all out. Harvey Dent was behind all of this. Harvey, as a child, turns out, was always manipulative and crazy. And he was just putting on an act of being kind. You see, as a child, he was abused, and his father was a master manipulator. And he learned all of those skills from his parents. The monster side, this side of him, was the true Harvey Dent. The human side was the act. He created this gang to make it powerful enough to take out Batman, his true threat, the hope of Gotham, so he could take it over. He wanted to destroy it. And when Batman confronts him at the hospital, he pulls out a rocket launcher and shoots Batman point blank, which breaks his arm. So for the final fight, he's broken. His arm is broken, freaking broken, and he retreats to Wayne Enterprises, where he finds Victor Freeze and Nora working on, like, some freeze tech. And he uses the grenade launcher to blow it all up. And Nora dies. Not frozen in a cryo generator, but dies immediately from being impaled by a piece of the cryo generator, which infected Victor Freeze. And when Batman got there, he realized this. And since he's like Bruce Wayne, he knew what this project was and what another piece of it was. A cryosuit that was meant to be a torture device and bring people's bodies to below temperatures. But Batman realized and Victor realized that those cryogenic like freezing temperatures is the only thing that can keep Mr. Freeze alive. Two-Face and Batman then go on a fight, and Harvey is just letting the monster out, the true Harvey Dent out, with the grenade launcher, and is shooting it left, right, left, right, left, up, down, where everywhere, which results in the destruction of Wayne Enterprises. And it destroys Batman, because he can only save Harvey and Freeze. He failed to be the hope, and Harvey won. Batman failed to be the hope that Gotham needed, and because of it, people died. Freeze lost his wife, and is now forced to wear this suit forever, and Harvey won. Even though that he is no longer able to become the kingpin of crime in Gotham, he still did what he set out to do: destroy the hope of Gotham. And so Batman retires. He hangs up the mantle and goes into depression. You think Batman was depressed in the first movie? In like a third movie, he'd be 10 times worse. Alcohol bottles everywhere. That's all I'm telling you. Freeze would then leave Gotham, go to the North Pole, so he can no longer wear this suit. That's what we're doing with Mr. Freeze in this movie. And Harvey would then go into a psych ward. And James Gordon would be the only protector of Gotham left. Until his daughter, and then we would see, in the final credits, Batman retiring, and James, the only one left. And in the final credits, in the post-credit scene, we'd see Roman Sionis take over the Two-Face gang and turn it into the Black Mask gang of Gotham. And he'd immediately choose his right-hand man, the person who got him in touch with Firefly, another psychopath, Victor Zsasz, who would be promised by Ronin that if the Batman returns, he can kill him. And that is what I would do for the Batman Part 2, Face the Batman.